Set for Steph versus LeBron, who have met a total of 38 times. 22 of those have come across 4 matchups in the NBA Finals. Curry has won 22 of the matchups overall. LeBron averages just over 30 points a game against Steph, his second most against any All-Star he's faced in his career. And the two did face each other the last time these teams met. March 15th, LeBron had a triple-double and a blowout win. Steph had 27. But Steph's been red hot of late. So here's how the Lakers are approaching him tonight.
We know who the head of the snake is, it's Steph. We got to do our best to contain him. It's going to be a team effort, not just all the pressure on the guards. We got to make sure we keep an eye on them and stay locked in on them at all times.
We anticipate they're going to throw the kitchen sink at Steph. Multiple defenders, different matchups, some blitzes, some shadowing, that type of stuff. We've kind of seen everything. Steph has seen everything.
So let's get into it with the man himself, the one and only Jalen Rose gets up here and we're ready to go. So let's look at this from a bunch of different areas. Tell me exactly what Steph has to do tonight against all that defense in order for them to have a chance to win.
I got your back, Greeny. Here's what he has to do. Make at least 10 threes. And I may seem like it can't be done, but I got something for you. Steph Curry has done that more times this season than any player in the history of the NBA has done throughout their career. So if the Golden State Warriors have a chance to do this, us calling Steph Curry the greatest shooter we've ever seen is because he gets it off of every action. Dribble handoffs, down screens, off one-on-one dribble action. He shoots it from the line. He shoots it closer towards half court. He's the greatest show in basketball. He's an MVP candidate. And by the way, is a 3-time champion. He and LeBron James were born in the same Ohio hospital. Now these dudes are playing at an elite level in a play-in game. They're going to need Steph Curry to be historic if they have a chance to beat the Lakers.
So you're saying he needs to make 10 threes. The over-under is actually 5.5. Would you go over? Do you believe he will make at least 6?
Greeny, you know what? I've never bet on sports other than the NCAA tournament and fantasy. I guess that is betting, but I would take that bet. I would take that bet. Win, lose, or draw, Steph is making over 5.5 threes. You know why? In his previous game, he had a career high in field goal attempts and three-pointers attempted. He attempted 22 threes in the previous game. So even if he's not hot, I anticipate he's going to take at least 20. So take over 5.5.
Okay, I like that. So that's what we all know. He's got to go crazy tonight. How about LeBron? Give me the game plan for him. If you're LeBron James, give the fans something to watch tonight. What would you be expecting to see him try to establish tonight in order to get the Lakers a win?
Points in the paint. Do not settle. Draymond Green is a terrific defender for the Golden State Warriors, but the Lakers have way too many big bodies to throw at them, including LeBron James. Do not settle. Continue to attack the basket. In half-court situations, definitely in transition. Anthony Davis is going to establish himself in hollow actions with Marc Gasol or Andre Drummond. And so I anticipate the Lakers will try to make sure they get to the paint and get to the free throw line against these smaller Golden State Warriors.
And do you expect them to win? Who do you like tonight?
I like the Lakers by double digits, actually. By double digits, actually. The one thing about the play-in games, we're excited about them until they actually happen. You seen the games last night, right?
Yeah.
Indiana was not playing around. And so I kind of anticipate a lot of that with the Los Angeles Lakers defeating the Golden State Warriors by at least double figures.
Okay, let's hope not for the purposes of it being a fun night for us tonight. But you mentioned last night's game. So Indiana just blows out Charlotte. And then Jason Tatum kind of takes care of business all by himself. 50 points last night for the Celtics as they survive and advance. So what chance do you give them to make it a tough series in the next round, the first round, against Brooklyn?
Nets in 5. Gentlemen's sweep, as we like to call it in the NBA. But I'm happy for Jason Tatum. Here's why. This is what you want from your young stars. It's kind of like Steph Curry gave us this year. You know that your team is not going to win the East. You know that they're not a championship contender. But however, you go out and put up 50 to shoot them into the playoffs. I appreciate that. But going against KD, James Harden, and their former teammate Kyrie Irving, this is going to be a whole different level for the Boston Celtics than they had last night. So the Nets in 5 is what I anticipate.
All right. I think a lot of people looking at it that way. We showed earlier that the Nets were 3-0 against Boston this year, and they won those games by an average of 15 points. Meanwhile, on Planet Earth, Jalen, which is sponsored by Whole Foods Market, you know who's excited about Brooklyn? They're thinking about the Knicks, who are in the playoffs for the first time in 8 years. And look at some of the numbers that is generating. The faithful are excited. Vivid Seats tells us the lowest you can get a ticket right now to get into the Garden is a little over $200. The most expensive tickets are going upwards of $8,000. They will open against Atlanta. Game 1 is Sunday at the Garden. Are you buying the hype? How far can the Knicks go?
I'm buying the hype because they're playing against the Atlanta Hawks in the first round. And both of those teams advancing would be a celebration for each of those fan bases. The Knicks, led by Tom Thibodeau, have done a terrific job of turning Julius Randle into an all-NBA performer, improving his three-point shooting. R.J. Barrett took a leap in his second year, improved in points, rebounds, and assists and three-point shooting. Derrick Rose has been outstanding, second most points in the league, scoring off the bench. And Alec Burke has been a revelation coming back from COVID, playing big-time minutes. So for the Knicks, by the way, to win a game, so let me just set the table. Yeah. All the Knicks have to do is win one playoff game at home, and New York is going to be hysterical. Let's just set the table. Now, if they happen to win a series, oh man, oh my goodness, New York is about to invade Atlanta. It's going to be interesting to see if they hold on to those home tickets. I've seen how that works, and so exciting for the Knicks fans. And like I tell people, the Knicks are the most exciting team in New York. The Nets are most exciting team everywhere else.
The Nets will play at home on Saturday, and the Knicks will play at home on Sunday. It should be a very interesting weekend, and Jalen will be there for all of it. Thank you,
yes,
Jay.
Indeed.
Outstanding. We are brought to you by Chase. I am Greeny, and here we come. The menu for hour number 2 is jam-packed. We are getting up with play-in mayhem. Tatum goes nuts. The stage now set for Steph and the King, who has the edge in tonight's one-game season. We'll ask Timmy Legs and Jalen Rose. Plus, a Hall of Famer had one word for Aaron. Now we have some choice words for him. Don't miss the fireworks. They're definitely on the way. And then a new Patriot throwing shade at the greatest Patriot of them all. Did that really happen? Yes, it did. And you will hear it here as we get up with you starting right now. In the Eastern Conference play-in game last night, the 7-seed Boston, the 8-seed Washington. Winner will get Brooklyn. 30 seconds to go in the half. Wizards have the lead, and Russell Westbrook is feeling it. Alex Len. No. Russell Westbrook. Yes, he would score 20. Wizards up 2 at the break. But the third quarter would belong to Boston, and it would belong to Jason Tatum. This is Kemba Walker. That's Tatum knocking it down. He had 13 points was the lead, and he was just getting started. Tatum not done. Celtics up by 10. Tatum backing down Bradley Beal. Little fadeaway. Jason Tatum, 23 points in the third quarter. Most in any quarter in any game in his career. To the fourth we go. Celtics up by 10. Tatum going right to the rim. Lays it up and good. The Celtic lead is a dozen. Looking to put it away. Boston by 15. Tatum stepping back for the three. Jason Tatum would score 50 points. And the Celtics would survive and advance. Russell Westbrook leaving with bumps and bruises. Boston wins, and Tatum was the talk of the town.
I don't really get caught up in, those who think I am a superstar and those that don't. What does that really mean? I know that my teammates, I've earned their respect. I've earned the respect of the guys that I play against.
It didn't matter who was in front of him, and that's been something that I've been trying to tell his for years. He's a special talent, man. I've been saying this since he was in diapers, so it doesn't surprise me.
And so Tatum's performance earning Boston the chance to play the Nets in round 1, but be careful what you wish for, because as you see, they were 0 for 3 against the Nets this year, and they lost those games by an average of 15 points. So that does not bode well. Let us bring Tim Legler back into the conversation here. So Tatum goes for the 50. Let me pose the question to you this way. As the Nets get set now for Boston to come in, will there ever be a moment in this series where you and I will be talking and we will be thinking, wow, the Nets might really be in trouble here?
Possibly after the first two games if Boston can get a split. And I don't think that's out of the
We are brought to you by Chase. I am Greeny, and here we come. The menu for hour number 2 is jam-packed. We are getting up with play-in mayhem. Tatum goes nuts. The stage now set for Steph and the King. Who has the edge in tonight's one-game season? We'll ask Timmy Legs and Jalen Rose. Plus, a Hall of Famer had one word for Aaron. Now we have some choice words for him. Don't miss the fireworks. They're definitely on the way. And then a new Patriot throwing shade at the greatest Patriot of them all. Did that really happen? Yes, it did. And you will hear it here as we get up with you starting right now. In the Eastern Conference play-in game last night, the 7-seed Boston, the 8-seed Washington. Winner will get Brooklyn. 30 seconds to go in the half. Wizards have the lead, and Russell Westbrook is feeling it. Alex Len. No. Russell Westbrook. Yes, he would score 20. Wizards up 2 at the break. But the third quarter would belong to Boston, and it would belong to Jason Tatum. This is Kemba Walker. That's Tatum knocking it down. He had 13 points was the lead, and he was just getting started. Tatum not done. Celtics up by 10. Tatum backing down Bradley Beal. Little fadeaway. Jason Tatum, 23 points in the third quarter. Most in any quarter in any game in his career. To the fourth we go. Celtics up by 10. Tatum going right to the rim. Lays it up and good. The Celtic lead is a dozen. Looking to put it away. Boston by 15. Tatum stepping back for the three. Jason Tatum would score 50 points. And the Celtics would survive and advance. Russell Westbrook leaving with bumps and bruises. Boston wins, and Tatum was the talk of the town.
I don't really get caught up in, those who think I am a superstar and those that don't. What does that really mean? I know that my teammates, I've earned their respect. I've earned the respect of the guys that I play against.
It didn't matter who was in front of him, and that's been something that I've been trying to tell his for years. He's a special talent, man. I've been saying this since he was in diapers, so it doesn't surprise me.
And so Tatum's performance earning Boston the chance to play the Nets in round 1, but be careful what you wish for, because as you see, they were 0 for 3 against the Nets this year, and they lost those games by an average of 15 points. So that does not bode well. Let us bring Tim Legler back into the conversation here. So Tatum goes for the 50. Let me pose the question to you this way. As the Nets get set now for Boston to come in, will there ever be a moment in this series where you and I will be talking and we will be thinking, wow, the Nets might really be in trouble here?
possibly after the first two games if Boston can get a split. And I don't think that's out of the question. Jason Tatum's in this kind of a rhythm. Celtics playing a game now. They're coming in. They're going to be a little bit more probably in a flow. The Nets guys haven't played together a ton. It wouldn't shock me if the Nets got off to a slow start in this series. But at the end of the day, I think Boston probably wins one game, maybe two, Greeny, but I think most likely it is a 5-game series. I just don't know how you can get enough supplemental scoring out of Boston's other guys. Jason Tatum can be sensational, but he's got to be sensational every night. He's got to be the best player on the floor for them to win a game. And that's just asking a lot when you're talking about the firepower on the other side. Kemba Walker's been on a roll. He's playing great. He was great again last night. You're going to have to get that every night out of him as well because you're missing Jalen Brown. And when you look at the rest of that roster, 56 shots out of those two guys last night, 40 for the rest of the roster. I just don't see how they're going to be able to play that efficiently against the Nets to really make this a series where you're getting into like game 5 and 6 where the series is still in doubt. I don't see that happening. As great as Tatum is, I think the Nets are going to play him better, certainly than Washington did, not put him on the line 17 times. If you put any great scorer on the line that often, he's going to get into a rhythm. You're going to have a very difficult time winning. I don't see the Nets doing that.
Yeah, Tatum was 17 of 17 from the free throw line last night. So that was last night's game. Now let's look ahead to tonight. The Lakers and the Warriors, and this is, look, in his own unique way, it's one of the most anticipated games that we've ever seen. So let's talk about LeBron James. What should the fans be looking for from him tonight? What do you expect him to come out looking to do?
I think he's going to control the game a lot in this one from the post. And I think he understands how important the three-point shooting is from their core role players. And LeBron's going to get those guys involved. We know he can take over the game as a scorer when he wants to. And he's going to have some matchups in this. He's going to go up against Draymond Green. Wiggins is going to get him some. You got Kevon Looney back there as a protector. LeBron James is going to have matchups I think he believes he can win as a scorer when he needs to. But this team is really dangerous when the three-point shooters get involved. So I think LeBron, particularly if that ankle is not 100% and he's not going to have that lift and that speed up the floor, finishing the way that he does in the open floor above the rim, I think you're going to see him more back guys down, play a little bit more of a half-court pick-you-apart game as a point guard. That's what I think LeBron James' approach will be in this one. But most important element of this game by far is how the Lakers defend Steph Curry. And is their communication tight, their switches, their jump outs? Do they pick them up in transition with the right personnel? I think Steph Curry might set a record tonight for the distance he's going to cover in a game without the basketball. Lakers have to defend that to win the game.
All right, we will keep an eye on that. Timmy Legs, we look forward to this. Again, it's a spectacular matchup tonight. On the big game tonight. Legs, here we go. The over-under is 5.5 on Steph Curry threes for tonight. Which way are you going?
I'm definitely taking the over. And look, it might take him a big number of attempts to get to that because I think the Lakers defense is really going to extend. But he might take 15 to 20 threes in this game, so he'll definitely make more than 5.5.
All right, let's talk about LeBron next. Combined total points, rebounds, and assists at 42.5 for King James. Which way are you going?
I'm going to take the under. I actually think LeBron is going to be maybe a little bit more in a playmaking mindset. And they've got a lot of guys, I think, on Golden State that can do a pretty decent job on him initially as a scorer. So I think LeBron is going to play a little bit more of a game, of a power game, and not as many field goal attempts. I think the scoring will be down, so I think I'll take the under on that.
Fair enough. And then finally, how about scoring for Steph? 36.5 points. Over, under?
I'm going to take the under. He'll be somewhere probably right around 30. But again, the Lakers, with their length, I think it's going to be a little bit different look for Steph Curry in this game. And obviously, this is the focus for the Lakers. If you allow Steph Curry to go for 40-plus against you and lose this game, there's no excuse because he is the sole target, really, that you need to take out. I'll take the under on 36.5.
All right, fair enough. And the Lakers are certainly well aware of that. Let me play you a little bit of this. This is how they are planning to stop Steph Curry tonight.
We know who the head of the snake is. It's Steph. We got to do our best to contain him. It's going to be a team effort, not just all the pressure on the guards. We got to make sure we keep an eye on them and stay locked in on them at all times.
We anticipate they're going to throw the kitchen sink at Steph. Multiple defenders, different matchups, some blitzes, some shadowing, that type of stuff. We've kind of seen everything. Steph has seen everything.
So look, everyone has been trying to do that to Steph Curry the entire second half of the season and couldn't do it. So let me put it to you from the other side. What do you believe Steph Curry needs to do tonight for the Warriors to win?
Well, look, Steph Curry requires more communication defensively to play against than any player who's ever played in the NBA. And so I think Steph Curry is going to force that communication by being as active as we've ever seen him. And that's saying a lot because every night when you watch Steph Curry, he puts on a clinic with moving without the basketball. It's going to be even more important in this one, Greeny, because the Lakers obviously are going to try to be on point with their switches, with their hedges, with their shows, with their jump outs, everything that you need to do with their cross matches, picking up in transition. So Steph Curry has to be relentless with his off-the-ball movement, and what that typically does, it leads to really good shots for other people. The question is, are those role players going to be able to step up and make enough of them to make the Lakers have to adjust? And I'm talking about guys like Andrew Wiggins, who might need a 25-point game in this one. Jordan Poole, who has been sensational for them. Maybe a Kent Bazemore. You're going to need a lot of supplemental scoring from your role players because I think Steph is going to have his track shoes on from Jump Street, and that's what it's going to take against a Lakers team completely honed in on trying to slow him down, particularly at the start of the game. They don't want him to get off in the first quarter.
For sure. And so we'll see if Steph can put up 30 or 40. He's got a long way to go to match Jason Tatum. We opened the show this morning by showing his 50 points last night as Boston advanced, knocking off the Wizards. So my question to you here, Legs, is, are the Celtics a legit threat to Brooklyn in the first round?
Unfortunately, I don't think they are. As great as Jason Tatum is, it's not going to be enough. Without Jalen Brown and having another all-star forward out there that can give you 20 to 30 every single night, I don't know how you have enough firepower if you're the Boston Celtics to be able to deal with what the Nets are going to throw at them or any other team for that matter. Jason Tatum, there's no doubt in my mind, is going to have a good series. He's going to score. Some nights will probably be more efficient than others. Kemba Walker has to be sensational, not just good like he was last night. Kemba Walker has to play like the Kemba Walker in Charlotte that was getting you 25 a night in order for the Celtics to make this a series. I think they can win a game and be in a couple of others, but at the end of the day, Greeny, I just don't know how Boston has enough defensively to slow those guys down, and then certainly, how do you have enough offensively to match them bucket for bucket without Jalen Brown? It just seems too tall of an order for me. Jason Tatum is going to need to